Hello and welcome to example 3, Scraping Multiple Pages by Alex Bradley and Richard James. So I'm Alex Bradley and I'm a teaching associate at the University of Nottingham, and Richard James is a postdoc colleague. So on our journey today we're going to look at 5 general principles of extracting information from multiple web pages. So this is going to be similar to example 2, so hopefully if you've seen that video then that's great. That's a good place to work from. If you haven't seen that video, I definitely recommend going back and having a look at that and having a look at example 1. Make sure you've done those 2 first, then come on to example 3. So in this video we're going to build upon what we've already learned so far in examples 1 and 2, and again I hope you've done the exercises, exercise 1, exercise 2. In this video we're going to look at initializing empty vectors to store information. We're going to look at understanding the structure of a website, using multiple for loops to navigate over web pages, extracting information from each of the pages you visit, and storing the extracted information. So, as I mentioned in example 2, there is this issue when you're using a for loop to traverse over multiple pages. It is really important to initialize these vectors before beginning the for loop. So if you just created them inside the for loop, then you'll find that they'll probably get overwritten each time the for loop runs. So you'll only ever have the last iteration of the for loop's information in it. So that wouldn't be very good at all. So what we need to do is to initialize them beforehand, and then once we're running through the for loop, append the information which you've captured inside the for loop to the vectors outside the for loop. That might sound a little bit abstract, but when we look at the script a little bit later on, we'll see why that all kind of works and why that all makes sense. So this is all information I talk through in a lot more detail in example 2, so definitely check out that video if you haven't already. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is when you're kind of, scraping multiple web pages. But unlike example 2, where basically all the links were just on one page, you often find that you want to go to multiple pages and then extract links from those pages and traverse over those different pages. So, for example, you often find that you have one page which is then linked to other pages, and then within each of these 3 pages we have here, there are also links to other pages that you then want to go to. And you'll notice that the links which are kind of down here, these links, they often aren't connected to other main pages. So this, for example, this link, this page here, doesn't connect to that page there, or doesn't connect to this page up here. So if we were to kind of rejig this structure, then you get something a little bit like here, and you'd have what I like to call maybe level 1 pages and level 2 pages. And level 2 pages aren't really connected, or only connected to one level 1 page, not connected to other level 1 pages. So what you need for this kind of example is you need a for loop that goes and traverses over the level 1 pages, and you also need another for loop which is nested inside the level 2 for loop to then go over the level 2 pages, as so. So it's often really helpful when you're getting kind of web page and looking at, thinking about what information you want to take from them, to really think about the structure in which that information is laid out, and think about how the pages connect to each other, because that will really help you to try and understand and help you to build your own web scraper. So for example 3, we're going to take an example much more like this, which is more akin to real life, I think, where you won't have all the links on one page and they'll be on multiple main pages. So just to show you an example of that on the web page we'll be scraping, if we go to our practice website, and on example 3, you can see that I want to take the articles. I want to take information from these 3 articles, and also the articles that are stored on page 2. I want to take these articles and information from here, and also the articles on page 3. And on each of these articles, on each one of these 3 main pages, we want to go to this link here. We want to take the title, we might want to take the main text, we might want to take the author's name, and we want to go back and go to the next article and do the same again, and do the same again. And then we want to go to page 2, and we want to do the same for all the articles on page 2. And then we want to go to page 3 and do the same for all the articles on page 3. So you can see we have that kind of nested structure there, where we have level 1 and level 2 pages. So we'll have a look at nested for loops to help us identify that. So the first for loop we're going to use, we'll just go through the main pages. So we'll just go through page 1, page 2 and page 3. And then the second for loop, which is nested within the first for loop, will then visit on each of those three main pages the three articles that are stored on that main page. And I thought, just to help to clarify and make this process a bit more visual, I thought it'd be a nice little Excel file that would really kind of highlight that. So the level 1 for loop is just going to go over these three pages, whereas the level 2 for loop is going to go through all of these pages. So the level 1 for loop, first of all, goes over this page. And when it's loaded that page, it then goes over and the level 2 for loop goes over this page, then this page, then this page. Then it goes back to the level 1 for loop, which then goes and runs some code, and in that code there's another for loop, which is the level 2 for loop, which goes through that page, and that page. It then ends, and it goes back to level 1 for loop, which then goes onto this page, back to level 2 for loop to go over these pages. So in total, the level 1 for loop has gone over 3 pages, the level 2 for loop has gone over 9 pages. In total, we visited 12 pages. So that's how we can navigate across multiple pages which are perhaps nested within each other using nested for loops. So just to think about how are we going to extract information from each of those different levels, I think it's useful to kind of break the process down. So the level 1 for loop will use the read HTML function to download and parse each page in the level 1 for loop, and then we'll use the HTML node HTML attribution function to pull out the links for the articles that the level 2 for loop will need to visit. And then at level 2 for loop, you'll use the read HTML function, and to download and parse the web page, create your document object model. You'll then query that model using the HTML node's HTML text functions to extract the text, the main text, and the author's information. So that's how we're going to go about extracting information from each of the different for loops. In terms of storing the information, so as mentioned in example 2, when using a for loop, there's that kind of danger that information stored in vectors created inside the for loop will be overwritten in each loop, the iteration that the for loop goes through. So to avoid this, we're initializing them outside, and then we'll then append that information to the vectors, append the information gained inside the for loop to the vectors outside to avoid that problem of overwriting. So now I think it'd be a great time to have a little look at this example script. So if you haven't already, do make sure you download the script from this particular link here, and also it might be nice to have a quick look at the practice website as well, and example 3 of the practice website. So definitely check that out. I'll give you a moment or two just to click on those links, and then we'll move on and talk through the script. Okay, so in this particular example, I just need to check, as always, if you haven't already installed Rvest, please do install Rvest and load it to your library. So I've just ran this line of code here, and I've got the output message. I'm just going to scroll down and make sure it has indeed been selected, and it has. So on the packages tab, and we can see that Rvest has been selected, so that's good. So in step 1, or step 2 should I say, we just need to make sure we initialize the empty vectors. So again, remember the information I'm interested in storing this time is the title, the main text, and the author's name. So as before, I am going to use C with empty brackets to basically initialize an empty vector, and I'm going to assign the empty vector to something called title. And again, I could have called that whatever I wanted to, and I've done the same for main text and for author. So we've initialized those empty vectors to store the author, the main text, and the title, the information we're interested in collecting. Okay, in this step, we're going to think about actually downloading the main web page, example 3 web page, and extracting the 3 links to the different kind of main pages that we're interested in going over. So if we just go to here and example 3. Okay, so that's a page that we're trying to pull, trying to download and parse. And again, we do that using the read HTML function and providing the URL and saving that information to example 3. So we'll run that line of code, and that page will be downloaded for us, and there it is. And what we're interested in now doing is interested in extracting the links that we're then going to loop over. So those 3 main pages, those level 1 pages, we want to loop over. So let's extract those links, and we'll extract those links by using the HTML nodes function, this function here, and we're going to use that function on the web page that we've just downloaded and passed, and we're going to use this as our CSS selector. So we'll again show you how to do this. So I've shown you in examples 1 and 2, so you should be quite familiar by now. So if you scroll down, you can see these are the 3 links I'm interested in collecting off this page. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see loads of other stuff is now highlighted in yellow. So I'm going to click on some of the other stuff that I don't want to have highlighted. So I don't want that either. Is there anything else highlighted? No. But you'll notice that none of the other pages are highlighted either, which is not great because I do want to include that information. So I'll then click on that, and that's good. So now though that became yellow, so that's also going to be collected. This isn't still red, so it's not going to be collected, and this is still red, so it's not going to be collected. However, this is also yellow, so that will be collected. So I just need to click that, say I don't want that. So then it gets a more precise CSS selector, which just pulls out the information that we're interested in, these 3 links here, and that more precise CSS selector is that. So you copy and paste that in to there, and then you pass that node to the HTML attributions function, and with the select href, and select href basically just pulls out the URL pages as you've seen before. So if we do that, you can see we have now those 3 main pages URLs there, right there. So again, you can print them out if you want and have a look at them. Okay, so there they are, the 3 URLs. So in this step, we're now interested in looping over, and this is our first for loop that loops over each of these 3 URLs. And as like last time, we've added a system sleep in there, so that's kind of handy because that system sleep is going to pause, and the website won't be too overworked with traffic, with us making continuous calls to it in a very quick short space of time. So we're avoiding the idea that we might cause a website to crash or a website to slow down because of our traffic that we're using with our web scrapers. That's a nice friendly thing to do, so definitely recommend inserting one of those in. And then we come on to the section where we use the main pages and the read HTML, and this time we're using the read HTML function on I, because I is going to be each one of these URLs, and that read HTML function is going to download that page, parse that page, and then we're going to use HTML nodes function, HTML attributes function to then extract the main titles from each of those pages. So again, you can get the main titles from each of those pages by going to here, and I'll just clear this, and this time we want these titles here because they contain the links to go onto those articles, but we don't want all this other information that's been highlighted in yellow, so we just need to click off some of that information, and now you can see the only thing that is highlighted in either green or yellow is the stuff we actually want. So this is our CSS selector, so you can copy and paste that and pop that in there, and then that will pull out the URLs for each of the blog posts we want to visit on each of the 3 pages we're going to visit. I've also added in some print statements just to kind of illustrate the process of what's going on inside the for loop as well. But you can't run part of the for loop, you have to run it all together. So let's run it all together and let's see the process it goes through down here of calling the different web pages. So remember, it should call level 1 page, and then it should call 3 level 2 pages, then it should call 1 level 1 page and 3 level 2 pages, and then it should call 1 level 1 page and 3 level 3 pages. Let's see if it does that. With the print statement in, so we're going to have a pause of 2 seconds. We've got our first main page, and we've got our first level 2 page, our second level 2 page, our third level 2 page. Now we should get level 1 page, which we do. So that's our second level 1 page. This is our 4th and 5th and now 6th level 2 page. Our final level 1 page, our 7th, 8th and 9th level 2 page. Okay, so that's 12 pages in total, 3 level 1 pages and 9 level 2 pages. And now you can see we've got loads of information over here. So I'll just talk a little bit more about what we've done here. So remember that we saved the level 2 pages to the blog pages post. So in our next for loop, which is nested inside our first for loop, and you can tell it's nested because it's indented. So basically for each iteration of this, we're also going to then go into this for loop, and then we're going to do, because we pulled out 3 URLs to visit, we're going to do this 3 times, and then go back up to there, do that for the second time, do this 3 times, go back up to there, do that for the third and final time, and then do this for times 7, 8, and 9. And what we've got in here is very similar. So we've got a system sleep, so we're pausing for 2 seconds. We've then got a blog post. So this is going to be downloading each of the articles. And again, notice it's T this time because we've got T in this for loop. So we're downloading each of those articles, and inside each of those articles we're extracting the heading, the main content, and the author. And again, we're using the HTML nodes function on the page that we just downloaded. We've got a CSS selector to help pull out that title, and then we're using the HTML text to actually extract the text from that particular HTML node. We do the same again for the contents and for the author. And then these are just additional print statements, and then we're storing the information before we leave this for loop. So we're storing the heading information to the title. This is, if you remember at the top, this is one of the vectors that we initialized outside the for loops. This is our main one, this is our permanent one. So we're appending any new information the heading has in each one of the for loop to the title. So the title is gradually growing as we go through the loops, gradually accumulating more information. And if you look down to step number 6, we just put all that on a data frame, which is something we've covered in examples 1 and 2 in great detail. So I don't think I'll cover it again, but I'll just run that line of code, and you can see up here we have a little table, and that's the 9 articles that were stored across the 3 pages, each with different authors, main text, and titles. And then again, we're just clearing up our workspace just to make things a bit more manageable. So now we've got the data analysis ready to go in there, which is nice. So that's a nice data frame ready to analyze. I would definitely recommend rewatching this video if there's things that aren't quite following or not quite sure about, and having a go at doing this for yourself on exercise 3. So if you just go back to the main page, you'll be able to find exercise 3 just on the side here. So again, have a go at accessing each of the articles via the titles there on each of the 3 pages. And inside each article, you're trying to pull out the title, the main text, and you can also pull out the picture URL as well, which is something we did back in, I think, example 1. So have a go at doing that. And all I have to say now is thank you for listening.